Looking back at the last 3 years, it's hard to believe how much has changed. My marriage of 15 years ended when I discovered my wife was having an affair with her coworker. She admitted to it after I found out, and even though she begged me to stay, I knew I had to leave. The divorce process was surprisingly smooth. She didn't contest anything in the settlement, probably because of her guilt. We managed to keep things civil for our kids' sake, and she continued to be a good mother despite everything. For almost 2 years, we just focused on being single parents and tried to heal from the end of our marriage. Then, right before the holidays, I started seeing someone. Nothing serious at first, we were more like friends. She had a daughter too, and after a while, we started talking about introducing our kids to each other. I thought it was only right to let my ex-wife know about this, so I sent her a text. Her reaction caught me off guard. She called me immediately, clearly upset. When I reminded her that we were both free to date other people, she broke down crying. She told me she hadn't been on a single date since our divorce, though I wasn't sure if I believed that. Then she got angry and made demands no overnight stays when our kids were there, and she didn't want to see my new friend at all. An hour later, she texted to apologize. I thanked her for that. Then another hour passed, and she sent another message saying she deserved what was happening. I didn't want any drama. I just wanted to maintain the peace we built for our family. My new girlfriend was great about the whole situation. She had zero tolerance for drama in her life, which I really appreciated. I'd worked hard to get my life settled after the divorce, and I wanted to keep it that way. Things got more complicated around Mother's Day. I made 2 big mistakes without meaning to. First, I had the kids on Saturday and took them to the beach since it had just reopened after being closed for weeks. The weather was perfect, and we had a great time. What I didn't know was that my ex had planned to take them to the beach for Mother's Day. She just never told me about her plans. My second mistake was even worse. I had made a nice Mother's Day gift basket for my girlfriend. I thought I'd hidden it well in my closet, but somehow our kids found it and assumed it was for their mom. They told her all about it, so when she called to express her disappointment about the beach trip, she also thanked me for the gift she was expecting to receive. When I had to tell her there wasn't actually a gift for her, things got really ugly. I felt bad about how it all played out, but at the same time, I couldn't help thinking about how she never considered how her affair would affect her future holidays and special occasions. I could have said a lot of hurtful things at that moment, but I kept them to myself. Looking back at the divorce process, I can see now that her affair actually worked in my favor, though I didn't plan it that way. She was so caught up in her relationship with her coworker that she made some really poor decisions during our divorce mediation. She was completely checked out during the proceedings, probably thinking her new relationship would take care of everything. She didn't seem to understand what it would really cost to live on her own, even with the alimony payments. My lawyer couldn't believe how easily she agreed to everything. Reality started hitting her pretty quickly after the divorce. Her relationship with her coworker ended just a few months after everything was finalized. She started struggling financially too. I remember getting a text from her asking about withdrawing money from her 401k. I just told her I had no idea since I wasn't planning to touch mine until retirement. The whole experience has really opened my eyes about affairs that turn into marriages. I've read a lot about it since then, and the statistics are pretty eye-opening. Only about 3 to 5% of affairs actually lead to marriage, and of those marriages, about 75% end in divorce. The numbers are even worse for third marriages. From what I've learned, there are usually 9 major problems that come up when affairs turn into marriages. The biggest one is that during the affair, people get caught up in this exciting fantasy world. But once they actually get married, reality hits hard. Many people don't feel the guilt during the affair, but it overwhelms them after they get married. The divorce has drained everyone financially and emotionally. When affair partners marry, they often realize they sacrifice different amounts to be together, which causes resentment. They expect their married life to be just as exciting as the affair was, but it never is. They have trouble trusting each other too. After all, they both proved they could cheat. They usually end up isolated because they've pushed away their friends and family during the affair, and when they try to reconnect later, people aren't as forgiving as they hoped. When the excitement fades, like it does in all marriages, they don't know how to build a deeper relationship. They spent their whole time together focusing on the excitement, not the real stuff. They also can't talk about their past without making each other jealous or insecure. It's pretty sad when you think about it. In my case, staying in touch with my ex-wife was necessary because of our kids, but it wasn't always easy. One moment from our divorce really stuck with me. During our final mediation session, when I was at my lowest point, she gave me this look I'll never forget. Her eyes were empty, almost evil, and she seemed to be fighting back a smile, like she was enjoying seeing me hurt. That look actually turned out to be a gift in a way. Whenever I felt the urge to help her with her struggles later on, I'd remember that look and know I was better off keeping my distance. I don't feel happy about her struggles. That's not who I am. But seeing that look helped me feel confident that I made the right choice in moving on. Sometimes I wonder if things would be different if she had shown remorse instead of that cold satisfaction in my pain. The first couple of years after finding out about the affair were the hardest of my life. I remember feeling sick to my stomach for days at a time, confused and stressed in a way I'd never experienced before. I couldn't sleep, had dark thoughts, and couldn't imagine how I'd ever have a future. Getting through each day felt like climbing a mountain. But here I am now, almost 3 years later, and my life looks nothing like what I imagined during those dark days. And surprisingly, that's actually a good thing. My company stood by me through the tough times, which made me more dedicated to my work than ever. My career has taken off in ways I never expected. I've also met an amazing woman. After my marriage ended, I never thought I'd find a connection like that again. I figured the affair had damaged me too much. But somehow, what I've found is even deeper than what I had with my ex-wife. My values have changed too. I see friendship differently now, and I've built really strong bonds with a small group of people I truly trust. My relationship with my kids has grown stronger than ever. They were my reason for keeping going during the worst times, and now we're closer than we've ever been. They're doing well, which is all I ever wanted. The other night, I learned even more about what happened during my divorce. I was out with some friends when I ran into one of my ex-wife's old friends. She'd had a few drinks and started telling me things I never knew. Apparently, my ex had invested a huge chunk of her divorce settlement in her affair partner's failing business. It was already in trouble, and her money just bought a little more time before it went under. The guy had planned to move to another state and asked her to come with him. She actually agreed, which meant she was willing to leave our kids behind. But then he changed his mind and dumped her. This explained why she went through her settlement money so quickly. I noticed her spending didn't match her income, but I never knew why until now. My girlfriend asked if hearing all this upset me. The part about her being willing to leave our kids did hurt, but the rest? That was her choice to make. If anything, it helped me understand why she's struggling financially now, and I don't feel guilty about not helping her anymore. When people ask me why I never tried to save our marriage, I tell them the truth. It wasn't just about the affair. It was about accepting what our relationship would become after it. I knew we could never have that pure marriage again. Sure, we could have worked on things, gone to counseling, maybe even built something new. But it wouldn't be the same. I knew I'd never see her the same way again. That special feeling of her being my wife was gone forever. I might have grown to love her again, but it would have been different, like how someone who remarries after losing their spouse might love their new partner, but not in the same way they loved their first spouse. Looking back now, I understand better why affairs happen. It's about how people value things in their lives, relationships, security, themselves. Sometimes people take what they have for granted. I think that's what happened with my ex-wife. We never had real problems, and I believe she valued what we had. But she got caught up in the excitement of the affair and overvalued that feeling. I've learned that affair relationships are like skydiving, thrilling at first but unsustainable. Real marriage is more like holding your newborn. It's about comfort, connection, and deep bonds that actually grow stronger over time. That's what I have now, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. For anyone going through something similar, just know that it does get better. You're not alone, and there are good people out there who will stand by you. Being a good person yourself really does pay off in the end. The pain of joining this club, no one wants to be in, is terrible, but there's life and happiness on the other side. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button to help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.